Jim Gordon here in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel. Time for another edition of Richmond Stories. Well, now joining us in the offices of the Richmond Sentinel, our guest is Doug Patterson. He is the president and owner of Richmond Sockeyes Junior A Hockey Club. Doug, welcome.
Thank you, Jim, for the introduction. And it's a great pleasure to come and join you.
It is a great pleasure to have you here, sir. As you get older, there's a saying that you can't go home again, and as we get older, we try, and you can't. But boy, you could sure get in the neighborhood of where your home is when you have a story like yours. You were the first captain back in 1973. The first season for this team, and now you're back as an owner. What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, it tells you how old I am. But no, you know, back in 1971-72 season, I can remember that vividly. And our coach's name was Bruno Pascolato.
Okay.
And he was an interesting fellow, and he was really enjoyable to have as a coach. And you know, I still remember a handful of guys that I played with, and they're still around. And so yeah, that's going on. That's 53 years.
53 years.
Yeah.
And a very strong franchise, we should say, all these years later.
Yeah, we're very, very proud. I've been involved, you know, with starting in '71, Jim, and then I helped out for a few years, and then I got back involved 23 years ago. So I'm now in my 27th year. Wow. And it's been very enjoyable, and there's no doubt about it. You know, we're very proud. We have a very rich history. Yeah. You know, just recently, since 1992, you know, we've won 6 provincial championships. We've won 2 Western Canadian, which is the Keystone Championships. So yeah, it's we're very proud. And like I say, we've done a number of things. You know, there's been a handful of players. You know, Danton Heinen that just got traded to the Canucks. He played for us in 2013 when we won a Western Canadian Championship, and you know, Jason Garrison from the Canucks. So you know, Dave Tomlinson, the voice of the Canucks. So there's a lot of guys are attached, and of course Orland Kurtenbach coached.
Another original.
Yeah,
the Canucks.
He coached the championship in '86, and so you know it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, yeah.
And
let's talk about how. I mean, outside the obvious. I mean, I played hockey as a kid in the '70s and '80s. It really has changed, and I look at, for example, and this is great for you guys to do this because you need that next generation coming up. But back in May, beginning of summer, you're having a prospect camp for young kids. For me, back in my All-Star days, it was maybe 1 week a summer, and you could choose not to go. Now you got to be doing this year round, don't you? And this prospect thing, you're doing this in May, and how important is that?
Well, it is important, Jim, because you know, every year you get anywhere from 7 to say 10, 12 guys age out or go to the next level. Yeah, yeah. So that means you're always recruiting. And so, you know, recruiting is a 10, 12 month job. Yeah. But you know, when you get these kids so annually we have a prospects camp, and it's usually 3 or 4 days, and that's to get guys out that we have an interest in.
And these are kids, we should say, born in that age group of like 2004 to 2009.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I say, the age limit in our league is 16 to 20. We're allowed 2 16-year-olds. And you got to be careful. You don't want to stack yourself up with too many 20-year-olds.
Because then you could drop off.
Because then they age out.
Yeah.
And we've had years where, you know, we've had like 12 of them, and now you got a real full recruitment, right? But it's important to have some older fellas, you know, for maturity, leadership, and all that. Yeah. But no, the prospect camp, you know, we would average maybe 3 to 4 guys that we would sign out of that 3 or 4 days. Right. Now these are kids that, you know, they just didn't show up, but we have followed them. Yeah. And yes, come on out and see what you can do with other guys.
And they're playing at various divisions, say in the Lower Mainland.
Yeah.
Are you getting anybody from out of province?
Not too rarely. You know, on occasion we'll get the odd one. You know, like Kevin Biexis. You know, Kevin obviously.
Yeah, great Canuck and broadcaster now, right?
Yeah, doing a great job. Yeah. And so Kevin's son is probably going to come and skate with us next year.
How old is he?
He would probably just turn 16.
Okay.
And you know, he's obviously going to be a big boy, but he's at 16. He's still not quite ready. But there's a good chance that, you know, he could be ready for us a year from now.
Let's talk about the challenges in this modern age. There are so many other things, along with other sports, competing for dollars of the customers. You've been around, as you said, nearly 30 years. Talk about some of the challenges that are here post-COVID that you maybe didn't have to worry about 15 years ago.
Well, you know, the big thing is it's cost. I mean, you look at these families. You know, we're a pay-to-play model, Jim.
Yeah.
And you know, we just don't have the ownership, aren't prepared to, you know, write checks constantly. So we have a pay-to-play model, and these kids, it costs them $7,500. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I look at back when
it cost the team.
Each individual family, the players.
Right.
So I look back, you know, back in '64 when I started playing. Actually, I started in '63, and in those days, of course, because Richmond Arena didn't come into play till '64.
Right.
And so I had to go out to Boundary Bay, the old hangar in Boundary Bay.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at
Yeah.
Things progress,
but
don't they?
that's where all of
hangar.
us, the old hangar, yeah. So those are fun days.
Yeah.
But you look at the costs associated with playing, you know, and then the equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
You know, you look at a stick, and you
that
know,
sounds me. I sorry to interrupt you, but when I played, and my parents, it was $15.
Yeah.
Inflation in different times.
Yeah.
What my friends are paying now for a hockey stick for their kids is astounding.
$250.
Wow.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, they have about a month guarantee,
Yeah.
which is great. But
Yeah.
if it breaks on you in 35 days, it just costs you.
Well, you're grounded, is what I say to kids. You're sitting on the bench without a stick.
That's right. But you know, the big thing is cost. The kids today are bigger, stronger, and then the other challenge that we're faced with in Richmond is the demographics. You know, you look at you know, when Richmond was small, you know, but today we're multicultural, and you know, we have to reach out and educate people, because not everyone in Richmond knows who we are.
That's right. Yeah.
Doesn't really know what hockey is. So it's incumbent on us to let them know, hey, come to the fish tank. We call it Mineral is called the fish tank to us.
Okay.
Being a Sockeye, and come on out and have an enjoyable evening, and learn about the game, meet people. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we proved that through our social media efforts. Last year, we started at 125 first Thursday after Labor Day, and we got it up to 225. And so our next plateau is we'd like to get up to 300, then 400, and then, you know, hopefully 500, right?
It's a big thing too for sports teams. I see this a lot in the NHL. I also see it a lot in British soccer, where people immigrate to a country and they want to feel more part of the country, let's say. And so, you know, like people pick up hockey here where they would pick up football or soccer in the UK or Europe. And so it's great. And that's obviously one of the changes too for you over the last 20 years. You mentioned social media, is that can really reach out. Are you getting out to different communities in this town saying, hey, you may not know a lot about the game, but why don't you come and see a game and we can explain it to you and see if you like it? Yeah,
most definitely. You know, I tell people, Jim, that we're not just a hockey team. You know, we're a community team.
Yeah.
We reach out. You know, you probably saw us at the July 1st Steveston Parade. Mm-hmm. We've gone to the Temple on 5 Road. There's Church 5 on 5 where they feed needy people. We go there once a year, and we get everyone out and we feed the people that need a meal.
Sure.
There's something at Canby here in about a week's time. We'll be participating in that. So, you know, we're committed to be a community team that gets involved. So it's not about showing up at Richmond Arena and come and playing hockey. You know, we have an obligation to engage, because if we want people to come and follow us, we got to reach out to the people. Yeah. And that's the position we've taken.
You mentioned community, family. I know that with a lot of things in life, when you're part of a group, something bigger than yourself, the bond never breaks. And you had an experience last year where you had a memorial for a former player, which I thought was a really classy, wonderful thing to do for a young man named Ray Sawada.
Yes.
Who played with you guys. continued throughout the ranks, became
Yep.
a firefighter, bless him, died, and you guys said we're going to retire. So
Yeah.
you tell a little more about that story.
Yeah, Ray was just a tremendous human being. And he was a great family man. He was a great person. He was one heck of a hockey player. He had it all. And to be taken from us, that early in life was just devastating. And so, yes, Ray, he started off in Richmond minor hockey. He graduated, him and his brother, he has a twin brother, Stephen, and they played on the Sockeyes. And then from the Sockeyes, Ray went to Nanaimo, and then from Nanaimo, he went to university, got a 4-year ride, and then he went to the American League. He was obviously drafted by the Dallas Stars, and I always remember when he got called up from the American League. His first NHL game happened to be in Vancouver.
Oh,
and I can remember phoning his mom and dad. He was at his mom and dad's for dinner, and I just wanted to, on behalf of the Sockeyes, wish him well, because we were very proud of you.
Yeah.
So after his pro career, he went over to Europe, and he extended his career, and then he came back, and when he came back, he got involved in our alumni. We have an annual alumni game. That part of that alumni is raising funds for scholarships, and we're pleased to say that we've raised just under $400,000 in 23 years.
Nice.
So the alumni and education is a big part of our fabric. So we got to know him pretty well. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks before he died, we brought him into the dressing room, and he gave a speech to the players in the dressing room, and I will always remember that. Basically what he said, guys, you're not playing for your name on your back, you're playing for the crest here, which is the name of your team.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember that. And unfortunately, 3 weeks later, he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
So, he coached his 2 daughters, soccer, hockey, he did it all. And so we were, obviously we all went to his funeral, and it was so sad, because it was such a big service, because he was a great guy.
Yeah.
So we said to ourselves, well, we got to do something special. We had never ever retired a jersey. So we let the dust settle a bit, and then we approached the family, and they said, oh yeah, absolutely, So we planned it, and we had it. I always remember it was November the 16th. So we had 2 or 3 months of planning, and we had people from his university days, people from Nanaimo came over, from all walks. They came over.
Nice.
And we filled the place, and it was it was an emotional send off, and that jersey's hanging up in the rafters, and I'm hoping that the city will never ever take it down.
Here's to that, sir. This is a great story. We're talking with the former captain of the Richmond Sockeyes Junior A hockey club, and now owner and president, Doug Patterson. Doug, thank you for joining us. We should mention Richmond Sockeyes. We've got the website right below us here, .com, for more information. They can find out about tickets. They can find out about the team, the history. It's all there, yeah.
Absolutely. Thursday night is our home night, and September 5th is our opening night, so we'd love to see as many people come out, and more the merrier.
There we go. It's Doug Patterson in another Richmond Stories.